Whenever I cook mashed potatoes, I always have leftovers, and this is the perfect recipe to use up the leftovers. These are my salmon fish cakes. They're so delicious. Now, the first thing I need to add to this 700 grams of mashed potatoes is finely chopped onion. We'll add half of this, and the rest of this is going to go in the tartare sauce later on. Now for some herbs, a combination of dill and parsley. So I'll add just a small handful, and again, the rest we're reserving to put in our sauce later on. Gosh, that smells fantastic. And then finally chop it. And just run your knife through it 4 or 5 times. We'll pick that up and then into the bowl. Now for some mustard. I love the piquancy of it. This is Dijon mustard. 2 dessert spoonfuls. And then some lemon zest. Now just start to break that up and mix the mustard into the mashed potatoes. Great. Now I'm adding some hot smoked salmon. You can actually get this from all your fishmongers. I've even seen it in the supermarket. But if you don't want to use this, you could absolutely use fresh salmon that's just been cooked in a fry pan and cooled. So just breaking up the rest of this. And you can see this makes quite a lot, so it will feed the whole family. And for the salmon, I'm using salmon that's in spring water. I've drained it. Use a good quality one for this. And we'll just scoop that out. And now with a spoon, give that a really good mix. Breaking it up, but still at the same time, not being so aggressive with it because I don't mind some chunks in these fish cakes. It smells fantastic. Now some salt, a small amount of salt. The hot smoked salmon is salty enough, so just a pinch. And then some freshly cracked pepper. One last stir. Right, that's come together nicely. So now we can form them into patties. I'm making large patties, so we'll divide this into 4. So just gathering a generous amount, and then on your board, press it together, flatten it, press it together, and keep flattening it. By pressing on it and turning it, we're getting the perfect, almost rissole-like shape. That looks pretty good. Now these are too soft to fry immediately, so I place them onto a tray and then they go into the fridge for at least 1 hour to firm up before I start to crumb them and fry them. Now these fish cakes have been cooling for about 1 hour. They've firmed up and I have my production line ready to go. So we need to place our fish cakes straight in the flour and just coat it all over. And because they're chilled, you can see that they're quite firm, so they're easy to manage. And then it goes into the egg wash all over and then on the sides, just flipping that around. I've also been preheating my oil. I like to use a lighter olive oil for this, and you want enough to shallow fry, so definitely cover the base of your pan. We'll take the excess egg off and then into the crumbs. These are just panko crumbs. Press down on it and reform the patty. And I'll do another one. So into the flour. Okay, I'm going to cook 2 today, so my oil is hot and we'll just start frying. So carefully place that in the oil. Nice little sizzle there. And the second one. Now these are quite thick, so they'll take a while to cook. You just need to continually turn them in the oil so we get a nice even colour. While they're cooking, we can finish off the tartare sauce. In a bowl, I've got 1/4 cup of mayonnaise along with some yogurt. I like the addition of yogurt because it gives it a tart flavour and lightens it up. some onion, the rest of the Dijon mustard, scrape that in, some gherkins that I've chopped, and some capers. With the capers, just pop them on the board and run your knife through them 1 or 2 times to roughly chop. The rest of the herbs, a small handful again, finely chopping the dill and the parsley, synonymous with tartare sauce. Pop that in. And finally, some lemon juice, about a tablespoon also, and we'll give that a mix. Sauce is done. All right, let's do the first turn of the fish cakes. Carefully lift it and turn it over. Oh, they look fantastic. Now these are going to take a little longer on each side. Then I'll also cook them on the sides. See how thick it is? We'll just carefully turn it in the oil. So another 4 to 5 minutes at least. All right, these are cooked. I'll turn the heat off. And we want to drain them on some paper toweling. So just carefully place them onto another plate. They smell so good. And like I said, they're large, so 1 per person as a main dish. We'll pop that onto a plate. I like to garnish with some extra lemon on the side. And that lovely sauce that we made. A generous dollop of that in the centre. Maybe 1 more for good luck, eh? And then a final garnish of some dill and parsley over the top. That looks pretty elegant. You know what I love about this dish? You're using leftover mashed potatoes. A majority of these ingredients you'll find in your pantry, just like salmon in a can, capers, gherkins, mayonnaise in the fridge. These are delicious, a midweek treat for sure.